Don't say that about trade. Get out of here. Trade is overpowered. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 3 in your Marley and Mirror best of 7. For anybody who is just joining us, welcome to this third game. For anybody who's unfamiliar with the rules of this stage, the way that it works is everybody has to play the Marlians. So if you're, whether you are, brand new to the game or whether you're experienced, you have to play the Marlians. It's the only civ that we can play. There are no other civilizations available. So in the north of the corner, playing the Marlians, obviously. Representing Izzy Esports in the color red, it's MarineLorD. On the south side, who is also playing the Marlians, because that is the rules in this third stage. It's Beastyqt on the color yellow.
All right, so let's look at the map spawn over here. This time around, Beastyqt once again has double forward goals, even more so outwards than what he did on the Arabia game. He does have a goal to the left as well, but one thing is certain. If he tries the same approach with the professional scouts that he did in the previous game, he once again will have to choose between protecting that second pit mine, or maybe even the first pit mine, and ferrying in the carcasses.
I'm curious where he looks to expand on that pit mine as well. Do you think he goes out over on that west side and drops the pit mine down there, or do you think he looks to come towards the middle? Because there is a large gold vein here as well.
I am really not a fan of that middle large gold mine. It's out there in the open, and the concern here is that not only will you have a tough time defending it because it's on the front, you're also going to have a tough time defending it because it is so much out there in the middle, so you can't really hide any armies nearby. It's not like, let's say, you have a forest close by so that you can at least conceal part of your army. There is some stealth forest nearby, but I don't think that's going to be good enough. So if MarineLorD sees an opening and he sees that you don't have presence there, he can easily take it down without having to fear about any kind of surprise waiting for him.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And obviously, going up against MarineLorD, one of the world's best players, if he spots that opening, he will take it. So you can't really be... Yeah, it's definitely one of those situations you got to be super careful here. But I do like the fact Beasty's got the gold in the back in this game. So we might actually see professional scouts here. I feel like Beasty kind of still thinks professional scouts can work because he knew what he'd be going up against in that last game. He obviously was watching the series from earlier today, and he saw the way that MarineLorD played it, and he saw the way that Lucifron was able to beat MarineLorD in that matchup using that specific strategy. So he knew what was coming, and he still got served. But you can't help but feel like it was a little bit because of the spawn. Now that spawns are switched up, will we see a shift in the playstyle, or will he look to emulate the strategy from last game?
I'm inclined to believe, based on the sample from yesterday and today combined, that it's not really, or it wasn't completely the map spawn, but it was rather the fact that the professional scouts build isn't really going to work here. You have to decide between protecting one of your gold mines and ferrying the deer no matter what. Obviously, if your gold is on the front, that makes it even worse, but even if you had a gold mine at the back, if you have no scouts nearby, you will start losing houses eventually.
I guess the other thing to note is that, like, with MarineLorD, he was just going into cattle. And he was achieving the exact same results that Beastyqt was achieving. Now, granted, he was doing damage to Beastyqt, but the point is that if you can achieve the same results with cattle, then why not just go for it? It's a safer option.
It is. Makes your base a little bit more compressed. And the big thing is that professional scouts is an expensive upgrade. If you go for cattle, you can actually squeeze in double broadaxe and fertilization at the beginning. And that's going to be what offsets that extra food income that you'll be getting from the hunt. And that's what we've seen in the previous game as well. Expect to see the same thing coming in here for MarineLorD. Eco-techs first, and likely no professional scouts.
All right, well, we just see the mill getting dropped down now for MarineLorD. But look at this, we've got idle villagers in the base. He manages to peel off a couple of them. He's running low, needs to get this mill and needs to get out a cow ASAP. Sheep stacked on top of each other, and he realizes that the best bet that he's got is just to... Oh, look at this, the cow's idle. There we go, finally gets the cow in. A single sheep coming through. It's going to get slaughtered a little bit too far away from the TC. Oh, geez. It could be worse. MarineLorD definitely struggling. Let's take a look at the base of Beastyqt. You can see he's still got plenty of sheep under there. Carcasses together with the sheep themselves. So he's miles ahead, and he's got 3 sheep up here as well. So Beastyqt doing very well on the sheep this game.
Yeah, he's got 14 to work with. Whereas on the other
Jeez.
side, for MarineLorD, that's probably not too much. Now, that's not going to be a big issue because you will still have the cattle working for you, but obviously there's a little less backup. And look at that, just a single sheep carcass and the cattle here for MarineLorD. And this time around, Beasty's going to adapt his build. He's the one going for fertilization first. Also double broadaxe, even squeezing in wheelbarrows. So a very eco-focused approach that we have here for him. Whereas for MarineLorD, a bit of a slower start here. He's just now grabbing fertilization.
All of those cows that MarineLorD made cost gold. That same gold that Beasty's got, he's invested those into these upgrades. So you can expect to see a pretty big difference between these guys, at least in the early game. Now remember, these upgrades, while we got more idle villas. Look at the villages. He's actually stacked up the cows on top of each other, so he can't get enough villagers around them. And looks like a villager pull or villager kill is going to be happening here. Going to lose a scout for it, or at least he should. Oh, the skin of his teeth, huh?
Yeah, gets out of there alive, and that's a big win. And look at Beasty. He's now going for the Donsos as well. Quick switch up, very quick switch up, and I think there's a villager being pulled as well, likely for a second pit mine on the front. This is looking really strong for Beasty right now. He's going to have a massive advantage on the eco department. When it comes to the upgrades, and actually when it comes to the villager count as well, that's one villager down for MarineLorD. And the Donsos will come in much faster. Now, both of the pit mines that MarineLorD has are on the back line, which helps a lot protecting them. But still, if MarineLorD doesn't have Donsos very soon, he's going to struggle to protect these pit mines.
Yeah, you're 100% on the money. The alternative that he could look for are walls, but against this many cavalry units early on, walls are made very short work of. There's so many scouts out here, and remember, the scouts have got the same amount of siege as any other cavalry unit, any other melee unit. So it can be very efficient to create a lot of warrior scouts and use them for siege. Barrack's going to be coming up from MarineLorD, looking to mirror the same playstyle that we've seen throughout the day. Definitely the most successful playstyle. See, he's adding in the upgrades as well, has picked up that horticulture upgrade. The difference here is that Beasty's holding on with that wheelbarrow and double broadaxe. So he's pretty much fully upgraded. Keep in mind all that gold that's going to be coming in, it's just going to be passively generated. He's not gathering any of it with his miners, so no need for that specialized pick just yet.
Right now, Donso number is looking slightly better for Beasty. Now, MarineLorD is taking a defensive positioning over here, yet to get his Donso upgrade. He's now catching up on the eco upgrades, though. So, he's stabilizing, and the longer this game goes, the less that villager loss is going to matter. But still, Beasty's in a pretty good position. He's walling off the left side, lovely move, just to make sure he doesn't get surprised by the scouts. And it looks like now MarineLorD is going to make a push happen here. This time around, though, Beasty has the scouts to mirror that with.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference here, is Beasty this time around has got a really good scout number. And most importantly, these scouts, they're not locked away pulling in carcasses, ferrying carcasses back and forth. They're able to be out on the map, and we can see him very mobile right now, up about 200 points on that score as well. Got a little bit of a switch up here. You can see Beasty moving towards the first of the pit mines, but at the same time, on the other side of the map, MarineLorD going to be doing the same thing. Donzo's going to be looking to defend. At the same time, MarineLorD gets pushed back away from this frontal position. So we see the defenses coming in from both of these players looking pretty solid here.
Yeah, big difference is that MarineLorD only has 4 Donsos, whereas on the other side, Beasty has 10. So Beasty can stay around a little longer, sets 2 buildings on fire. In the meantime, he does lose 1 scout in the middle, but Donzos, for the time being, will chase him away. Question is whether MarineLorD was able to save either of those houses close to the pit mine, because Beasty only set them on fire, but he didn't finish them off.
We did see a Vil moving out towards that position. So it looks like one of them will be saved. The other one, though, has been sieged down. We see more houses being sieged down, just slowly doing hit and runs as we approach the 10-minute mark. And we might get caught out of position, but a beautiful sidestep coming through. Beasty looking like a linebacker right now. Well, not a linebacker, more of a running back, really. MarineLorD missing the tackle.
Yeah, look at that. Wrap around. He's flirting with the idea of diving on the lumberjacks, and right now MarineLorD is playing a reactionary game, and look at what Beasty is doing behind this. he's stacking up resources for Castle Age. MarineLorD has to defend, has to keep investing into the Donzos. And Beasty, now he's stacking up resources. He's been having those eco upgrades for a lot longer, so he managed to accumulate a lot more resources over the course of this game. And that's the difference that we see between these two players right now.
All right, well, the Donzo numbers are starting to pick up here. Beasty up to 18 Donzos compared to MarineLorD's 9. So one thing to note, though, is that MarineLorD's adding in the archers. Got Beasty coming back in to try and pick up reinforcements. Donzo's still teeing off. This is a great fight for him. Manages to take out the first of the scouts. More Donzos coming through, but the archer numbers still solid. It's only 4 archers, but it's more than enough to sway the fight. Remember, they've got that extra bonus damage against them. And looming for more buildings. He finds plenty on the front. This is actually looking very good for MarineLorD here. One thing to note is that there could be a collapse from that north side. Beasty moving his units towards this central location. Donzo numbers insanely high for Beasty here. He's just going to go for a full surround. Donzo's looking to commit. One of the Donzos peels off from MarineLorD. Really well played there, actually. And now those warrior scouts coming in from the north. Looking their best to loop around. Come through, looking for the intercept. Managed to find it. Archer numbers still building here, but only about 5 of them so far. And Beasty with just a huge advantage in this fight. Fruma Garrison goes down behind the scenes as well. MarineLorD outnumbered and outgunned. He's going to be out-teched shortly as well, as Beasty, with the Fruma Garrison, looks towards that Castle Age.
Yeah, MarineLorD needs to punish right now. Now, he might be able to accomplish something over here. Don't forget that. He's going to torch down some of the houses. He's got some archers to pick off the Donzos with. And it's going to take some time until you get the first batch of units out of that Fruma Garrison. But right now, MarineLorD's position is not something that you would envy.
Definitely true. Because now he's able to put pressure on the front, but he's going to be going up against veteran units. Beasty at this point can pretty much just make full... What does he even go into? Just Sofa Donzo, I think, is probably the best bet.
I think archers. Here, you're going to have poison arrow archers anyways. He's actually queuing sofas right now. That's going to be a little problematic, but once he gets archers going, it's perfectly fine because his opponent has Donzos and archers and you have the Castle Age upgrade. Now, MarineLorD is stacking up resources for Castle Age himself. So MarineLorD feels like there is still a chance over here, and strictly speaking, there might be.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the tempo is somewhat switched in favor of MarineLorD. He's got a really good presence out here. He's able to put on a lot of damage towards this gold vein.
Uh-oh, Beasty's housed. That's a big thing. MarineLorD is destroying houses, making it difficult for Beasty to use the Fruma Garrison. That's a disaster. This is buying so much time for MarineLorD. He's also losing some of his own houses, but that's way less relevant. What matters for him right now is that the Fruma Garrison is still unable to pop out any units because he lost all the houses nearby.
And now MarineLorD going to be going for his own Fruma Garrison, looking really solid in this best of 7. Able to take down all the buildings here and set that last one on fire. Managing to defend his own pit mine. Can feel him building a bit of a tempo lead, it feels like. Now Beasty going to be heading into full archers. We can see he's up to 10 archers at the moment. So expect to start seeing some upgrades come through. He's got ranged armor. It's already through. And from MarineLorD's side, he's picked up ranged attack as well as melee attack. Definitely going to be making a difference in these fights when you've got so many melee units like the Donzo. Warrior Scout, both of these guys have got really low attacks. So that extra 1 damage, it's a huge percentage of their overall damage that they're putting out.
Yeah, MarineLorD has caught up so well over here, and Beast is gonna have to make a big investment trying to rebuild those buildings. Now, he could punish MarineLorD here, though. Gold miners getting caught off guard, and that's quite a lot of warrior scouts. Quick reaction by MarineLorD, though, pulls away everybody. This is such a good reaction by MarineLorD. Beast is barely gonna get a kill here.
He's very on the ball with his reaction timing, isn't he? But I guess that's what you'd expect from the world's best player. So now MarineLorD's going to be looking to evacuate from that central location. Veterancy coming through on a lot of these units still for Beasty. Big surround, though. A lot of villagers here. Donzo's trying to help out. 6 worker kills so far. Beasty manages to find an opening finally. He's been relentless with these warrior scouts, and that was it. Managing to take out 8 villagers. That's going to be the 9th one that goes down. A lot of these workers are still really low health, so if he comes back in again, he might be able to find even more vills and more ways back into this game. And now MarineLorD down 8 vills in this game.
Now it would take a miracle for MarineLorD to come back. He caught up to Castle Age very nicely, and he was just down 1 villager. It looked pretty good for him when it comes to recovery. Now it's looking very grim. He's down by 10 villagers when that villager gets picked off. And that's a lead that's near insurmountable when you don't have any cavalry to punish your opponent with. His army is very static. He's still open on both flanks. Struggles to keep track of those horsemen that keep raiding. You see his 3rd pit mine gets intercepted. And behind this, Beasty is bringing in 4 relics, capturing sacred sites. The snowball is beginning to roll. And I don't think that the MarineLorD is going to have an answer to that.
And good game gets called. MarineLorD taps out. When it comes to these mirrors, it's so close that a single mistake can cost you everything. MarineLorD was able to spot that raid on the north side of his base. But when Beasty came in on that west flank, it took him off guard. And just a single raid was able to close out this game. So there goes the 3rd game. It's going to be Beasty claiming victory and managing to chalk one up on the board for himself. So now we're going to be moving into our 4th game, which I'm hoping it's not a Malian mirror.
I want to remind you to the wall that Beasty made on the left side. It never really came to a use, but that just tells you the dynamics of this matchup. You will keep those scouts alive for a long, long time, and you always wait for an opportunity to hit the opponent's gold mine. Beasty had to wait about 15 minutes for that to come to fruition, but when it did, it almost single-handedly won the game.